What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Tuesday, February 11th injury report video. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoney DFS. Only a 4-game NBA slate tonight. Not that much injury news to worry about, but there are a couple of big pieces to talk about. Nothing too crazy stuff or guys that have been out recently anyway. But we do have a few Q tags, so gonna go ahead and get into that. Starting with the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid is questionable, as is Eric Gordon. The Embiid news obviously is huge. The Gordon news really doesn't matter at all. Embiid is big for two different reasons. For one, he impacts usage for Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. If Embiid is out, you can expect more production from George and Maxey, in addition, to other pieces like Kelly Oubre. And then also, of course, the playing time component. If Embiid is in, you are likely to get Yabusele off the bench. If Embiid is out, you probably get Yabusele in the starting lineup. It could alternatively be Andre Drummond, but based on what we've seen in the past and also the rotations that Philadelphia used last game, my assumption is that it will be Yabusele. He was the backup to Embiid last game. Drummond didn't play. The Gordon piece here doesn't really matter. He played like 9 minutes last game. Kyle Lowry is also out. He played like 6 minutes last game. You have Quentin Grimes playing a bunch of minutes now. Justin Edwards can play a bit more. Kelly Oubre can play a bit more. There's no shortage of bodies here for Philadelphia, so the Eric Gordon piece doesn't really matter. Nobody's questionable for the Raptors. Grady Dick and Jonathan Mogbo are both probable. For the Knicks, OG Anunoby is questionable. He's missed their last few games, and we've had Precious Achiuwa starting in his place and playing a lot of minutes. One interesting thing in the last game against the Celtics, which ended up being a blowout loss for the Knicks, Miles McBride started the second half in place of Anunoby. I don't know which route they will go today in place of Achiuwa. I don't know which route they'll go today if Anunoby is out. If you remember the first game that Anunoby missed, they actually announced that McBride was going to be the starter, and then they changed their minds like 15 minutes later and started Achiuwa. So it is entirely possible that McBride gets the start. Whoever does start, I would expect to play big minutes. We saw, Achiuwa playing mid 30s, and McBride historically going back, to last season in games that he has started has averaged something crazy like 44 minutes per game. Not saying I think he plays 44 if he starts tonight, but he should play a lot. He played 35 against the Celtics, starting the second half, like I said. And then one other thing that was noteworthy from that most recent game is that essentially the Knicks ran a 7-man rotation. Now, I don't anticipate them doing that tonight, even if Anunoby is out. This is the front end of a back-to-back. That was a game against the Celtics. So you typically, sometimes we'll see teams just run more condensed rotations in those spots. But it is it's possible. It is noteworthy. You got 33 minutes from Achiuwa. You got 35 from McBride in that game. Cameron Payne was the straight backup basically to Jalen Brunson. They played alongside each other a little bit in the fourth quarter. Huck Porty was barely in the rotation. So you did have a condensed Knicks rotation last time. Again, I think you probably see a little bit deeper rotation today than they did in that game, even if Anunoby is out. But if he is out, whichever guy starts between Achiuwa and McBride is likely to play a ton of minutes. Whichever one of them comes off the bench is likely to play mid-20s. You should get more minutes distributed to Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, potentially Jalen Brunson as well, but certainly Hart and Bridges. Moving on to the Pacers, where Enrique Freeman is questionable, which does not matter. Miles Turner is questionable, which does matter a lot. We have seen Thomas Bryant start in his place 3 times this year. Bryant has played 28, 26, and 23 minutes. 23 coming in the most recent game. The Pacers did also sign Jahlil Okafor to a 10-day contract. I assume Bryant would still start if Turner is out. Maybe Okafor gets some backup minutes. Maybe he doesn't. I don't really know. Obi Toppin typically plays a little bit more if Turner is out. Jarris Walker generally enters the rotation if he is out. But the big piece here would be that you expect Thomas Bryant to start. Thomas Bryant is a good point per minute guy. So when he gets into the mid-20s, he ends up being pretty useful for DFS. Nothing on the injury report for the Pistons. Nobody is questionable for the Bulls. Nobody is questionable for the Grizzlies. Vasa Micic is questionable for the Suns. That should not matter much. I don't know that he'll be in the rotation even if he is active. Maybe he plays Monte Morris minutes. Maybe he doesn't. You have Kevin Durant back today, so I don't even know how much Monte Morris is going to end up playing. I don't think the Micic news really matters here. So the injury news that you are really waiting on is OG Anunoby, for the Knicks, Miles Turner for the Pacers, and Joel Embiid for the Sixers. As always, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you get notifications when shows are going to go live. And if you want access to my NBA projections, which obviously update for injury news throughout the day, you can get access to those using the link in the description below. Thank you for checking out the video, and I will see you back here later at 4:30 for the DraftKings tournament show.